If you're looking to be a content creator in 2025, there may be some roadblocks that prevent you from taking that next step. There are so many hurdles that aspiring content creators have to move past if they want to keep going on their journey to being a content creator. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about some of these hurdles in particular and how you can kind of reframe your mindset if you do come across them. And hopefully some of the tips in this video can lead you on to being a content creator in 2025. But for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Kaylee and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia. But I'm also a content creator and I started this channel a few years ago to talk about all things business, social media, freelancing, and content creation. And as I mentioned in today's video, we're going to be going through some tips for becoming a content creator in 2025 and how you can get around some of those hurdles that might come your way. So it's funny, when I first started out with content creation, it was never really something that I had planned to do. When I first started my career as a freelance photographer, there really wasn't such a thing as a content creator, going back 15 years ago. Instagram wasn't really existing at that point, and even YouTube was taking on a totally different tune in terms of the kind of content that people were posting. So I feel that so much has changed in the last 15 years and so much has changed with my own career and things have evolved, and I feel that I've learned a lot. I've also faced my fair share of hurdles and roadblocks when it comes to being a content creator and actually either earning money from it or really taking it on as part of my career. I think that it's often seen as this easy kind of career path to go down and it's easy money. And I think we all know, if you've tried content creation or if you've tried to be a content creator in the past, it is not the case. It is not that easy to be a content creator, especially one who is earning a full-time income. But in this video, I really do want to speak to those people who are really wanting to make that leap next year in 2025 to being a content creator, because I think that there's probably a few things that you might have already come across that have stopped you so far from taking that path to being a content creator. And I want to go through some of those details in particular today and just talk about a few things that you can do to kind of avoid those hurdles and really move forward with your goal of being a content creator. So let's jump straight into the first point for this video and let's talk about your filming setup. Now, my personal tip for this is to use a simple filming setup. I think one of those really big roadblocks for a lot of creators when they're looking at getting into this, they feel that they need to have a full filming setup. And by full filming setup, I'm talking you need like a $4,000 camera and lenses, you need the expensive tripod, you need the expensive lights, and I'm here to tell you that you don't need any of that to start. I feel like you should just in some ways forget about that if you're looking at being a content creator next year and this is something that you've been thinking a lot about. Try to push this out of your mind, because realistically you can get away with a very, very simple filming setup. Now, if you have a little bit of money to spend on this, that's great. If not, we can talk about something even more basic. Now, if you do have a little bit of money to spend on a setup, there's a few things that I would recommend starting from the beginning, but if not, like I mentioned, that's totally fine and we can go even more simple. So first off, I'm just going to talk about some of the essentials that I think you may need if you do have a bit of money to spend. Now, obviously a small vlogging camera would be great, but if you do not have the funds for a vlogging camera or a small camera, just simply use your phone to record, and that is going to be totally fine. Most phones these days are filming in like 4K footage, and even if it's not 4K and it's only 1080p, that's totally fine too. You don't need super high quality to start off with. This is something you can easily evolve as you go along. So keeping that really simple is great, but also ideally it would be good to have a tripod, and you do not have to spend a lot of money on a tripod, just something very simple. And also, if you can afford it, a microphone is great to start off with. Audio is something that I didn't realize was very important in the beginning of my journey, but again, if you do not have the funds for this, just start with something extremely simple. So if you can get a cheap microphone, for example, I have a few different microphones. Rode, the brand for the one that I'm actually using right now, actually make a video micro microphone, and I think I spent like maybe $60 on it. And it's a really good little shotgun mic that you can attach to your camera if you've got one. Again, a really good little essential to have there. And then I would also recommend just having one light. And I feel that it's great to have one light on standby because it is just good if it's a cloudy day or if it's dark in your room or if you're having to film at night, then at least you've got a little bit of a light source there. You can either use it directly on yourself or you can bounce it against a white wall if you've got a white wall in your house or a lighter color wall. That's a really easy way to generate a little bit more light as well, a bit more of a softer effect. A lot of lights that you do buy online may come with a modifier like a softbox, which is completely fine. So if you've got a small budget for a setup, I think it's great to have a vlogging camera, a relatively inexpensive microphone and tripod. and also one light. And again, that light does not need to be expensive. There are so many different types of lights online and lighting kits that you can buy that are not going to be overly expensive. So those 4 things are a great starting point. Now, for those of you who don't have a budget as such, and that is totally fine, I think it's perfectly acceptable to be filming with your smartphone. Or even if you do not own a smartphone yourself, if you know someone that you can borrow a smartphone of, whether it be a family member or friend, I think this is a perfectly acceptable way to film your YouTube videos or your Instagram content, whatever it is. Now, if you're unable to purchase a tripod, there are lots of things that you can do and sneaky little tricks that you can use to get your phone standing up. So whether you have to use a pile of books, whether you have to use boxes, whatever surface you can use to kind of stand your phone up and film, just utilize it and don't think too hard about it. If you can afford a tripod in future, that's wonderful, but for now, just really use what you've got. In terms of lighting, it's perfectly fine to use natural light in this instance, and if you can't afford a light for yourself, that's totally fine. Natural light is something that I used for the longest time for a lot of my videos, so that is obviously something that is free and easily available. And then in terms of audio, if you can't afford a microphone just now, even using simple techniques like putting some blankets around where your phone might be sitting or your camera, and that'll just help to sort of absorb any echoes or any tinniness with the audio, just having those blankets to absorb that sound nearby. Another really great way to avoid echoing audio is to make sure that you're filming in a carpeted room or a room with a lot of floor coverings or a lot of furniture. Any empty rooms will generally be a lot more echoey, so just keep that in mind. But as I've just mentioned, this is a totally acceptable setup. If you are just looking at starting out and you don't have a budget, simply using your smartphone to film is totally fine. Try not to get too caught up with expensive gear, especially in the beginning, and as long as you just start and give it a go with the equipment you've got, you will be able to evolve as you go along. Now, the second tip I have revolves around niches, and my tip for this is choose one niche or choose several. Now, this is more for if you can't decide what niche to choose and you have several that you may want to do or that you're looking at, and this has been a bit of a roadblock for you maybe starting to be a content creator already. I think that it's totally fine to choose more than one niche. I think being smart about it and not overcommitting yourself though is a really important factor here. So if you're not sure where to start, but you kind of want to do more than one thing, that's okay. And I think it's okay to pick maybe 2 or 3 niches, but just making sure that everything that you're going to be creating content for is going to be realistic as well in terms of fitting into your lifestyle and your time frames, your schedule. So for example, I have 3 niches that I tend to work around. I have this particular YouTube channel where it's more for social media content creation. I have my other YouTube channel where it's all photography and retouching tutorials. And then I have another YouTube channel with my partner, which is travel vlogging and travel content creation. So I have a couple of different niches that I like to dabble in, and I have more than one social media account for them. But again, I try not to overcommit myself with every single one of them at the moment. I try to make sure that I don't have a million different social media sites for each particular niche I have as well, because that would just be way too much to commit to and way too much posting. So I realistically have 3 YouTube channels that I post to regularly, and I also have a couple of Instagrams and a TikTok, and that's pretty much it in terms of what I really actively post to at the moment. I try not to overcommit myself, like I mentioned. I think for the longest time, this whole tip and mantra around niches has been to pick a niche and stick to it and narrow it down, niche down, and I don't really agree with that anymore. I think that things have changed online as well, and I do think that people need to evolve as they go along. They need to move into different things. You might find choosing the same niche for like 10 or 15 years to be really quite boring after a long time. So I really do think it's totally fine to branch out into more than one thing, and if you are not really sure what you want to pick just yet, maybe pick 2 things to focus on instead of just one. I think that that's okay. Just remember to make sure it's going to be realistic, and whatever schedule you set for these niches, make sure that that fits into your day-to-day life. I think too many people for so long have held off on being content creators because they're not sure which niche to pick. So I do think that this is a turning point, really, that you should just say, okay, I'm going to do more than one thing, and then kind of narrow it down to potentially a couple of things if you need to. Now, moving on to the next tip, and this kind of follows on from my last tip as well, but it's really about choosing a posting schedule that is going to work for you and your lifestyle. Totally forget about posting to YouTube or Instagram, 3 or 4 times a week. If that is not going to suit you and your lifestyle and your own work commitments, then post once a week, post once a month, post whatever you can manage. It is not easy to always keep up with a schedule for social media as a content creator, and I know this firsthand. I know this especially in conjunction with being a freelancer as well, and a freelance photographer, and having my own photography photography business and then doing all of this on the side, it's not easy. So I think that no matter what, if you have other work commitments along with being a content creator, you need to make sure that the schedule you're going to pick for yourself is, again, not overcommitting and it's not going to overwhelm you. Because as soon as it gets overwhelming and not easy, that's probably when you're going to give it up and stop posting, and it will all just become a bit too much. So that's always something that I've found, is that I always stop if I just overcommit myself to everything, is that I always stop if I overcommit myself on my schedule and I end up going the opposite way that I intended. And instead of posting more content, I end up posting a lot less, and sometimes not even posting for months. So that's really something to keep in mind, is to ensure that whatever schedule that you're going to pick, make sure it suits your own lifestyle and commitments. The next tip I have is to be active and engage. So this goes for any of your social media accounts that you'll be posting to. Make sure that even if you're not going to be posting super regularly, make sure that you're at least active to the point of replying to comments, or potentially even handing some engagement out. If you're finding that you're not getting a lot of engagement on your own posts or videos or whatever you're creating, make sure you go and check out other people's work too. So especially, I find this is a major thing for Instagram and even TikTok, but Instagram in particular, I find it's really great to create that little bit of community by actually going and finding other people in your niche or in similar niches and commenting on their work, liking their work, saving their work. And then not only does it kind of develop your feed on Instagram to be kind of showing you content that you want to see and content that's similar to yours, but it also helps you to make a few new friends and kind of create that little bit more of a community feel. A lot of the time, if you give other people engagement, they will often give it back to you. So I think that that's a really great way to stay active and be engaged with your accounts, and make sure to never forget that, because it's such a big part of social media that I think a lot of creators often forget. And then my last tip is to start reaching out to brands from the beginning. So even if you don't have a large following, if you've only got a small following, you can still do this. I talk about this all the time on my channel because I really do believe in it, and I think you don't need to be a huge creator to start working with brands. And by working with brands, I don't necessarily mean asking for money straight away, although you can start to do that if you want to. Thinking outside the box a little bit with this in terms of how you can collaborate with certain brands is a really good way to go about it too. So for example, this is something I've mentioned on my channel before, but I have recently pitched to a couple of camper van companies through my travel content creation and through my Instagram account and my travel vlogging channel with my partner Dan. I reached out a few months ago to several van companies, and a lot of them got back to me, and I was not expecting it to be that quick and happen that quick. But basically, since I reached out to these camper van companies, I have actually gone on several content trips, and potentially may have some even in the works for next year. So that has been a really big win for me, because not only has it given me essentially free camper van hire on both occasions for over a week, it's given me a chance to start building my portfolio and my partner's portfolio in terms of photography, video, content creation for brands. And so now with that content that we've developed, we can then go and take that to other brands and then pitch to them as well. And of course, our whole mantra is around travel content creation. So of course, we love traveling, and getting to go on these van trips with these particular camper van companies has been amazing. It's been great experiences in the last few months and has absolutely been worth our time and money. And although we've had to invest a little bit of our own money into, certain parts of the trip, of course, that weren't going to be covered by the company, but at the same time, we felt that it was a very mutually beneficial thing to do. And this is something that also needs to be taken into consideration as well. You need to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of at any point by brands, because this can happen. And especially if you're looking at doing like a contra or a collab thing where no money is involved necessarily. But there are other ways that you can approach these brands from the beginning as well. You can approach them for discount codes for your followers. For example, if you really love a brand, or you buy items from any brands at any given time and you really want to promote them more on your Instagram or your YouTube channel, you can absolutely reach out to them and see if they will give you an affiliate code or a discount code, and start building that relationship that way. It doesn't always have to be about asking necessarily for thousands of dollars for a specific project to work on, or pitching in that way. There are different ways you can reach out to brands from the beginning, and that's just a few of them. But as I mentioned, if you feel that you're ready as well to ask for money or to pitch for a paid project, I think that that is completely fine too, and go you if you can start doing that from the beginning, because I think that not enough content creators do that, and not enough content creators actually know that you can do that. So that's definitely one of my biggest tips. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I hope you learned something new from it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do because I'll be posting a lot more in future. Let me know down in the comment section below if you're thinking about becoming a content creator in 2025 and if this is something that you want to aspire to. Let me know because I would love to hear all of your thoughts. In the meantime, make sure to hit the notification bell to see all the updates from my channel in future. But thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.